Welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show.
Hello and welcome to the Buddy and Shane Show. Week one of the finals is done and dusted, and it was awesome. We absolutely loved it. Well done to all the winners. Well, firstly, Buddy Franklin, Father's Day yesterday. You look like you got a new shirt on. You got a bit of bling happening. So there's obviously a few gifts coming your way.
Father's Day was nice, Shane.
Yes.
Just a nice breakfast, and we went and saw some friends, and it was really good.
Oh,
really good,
that's
nice
beautiful.
and easy it was.
Yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers that listen to the podcast and to all the fathers wannabes that want to be fathers one day. If you do want to be a father, hold off for a little bit and, have your own time as much as you can before you start doing that. Can I just say to the Saint Kilda Football Club a few weeks ago on this podcast, I said, I'm not sure they're doing it right. You know, you got to sell the club. You got to sell what it's all about. And I thought they were just throwing money. And they obviously are. And it's worked. Wanganeen Miller, done and dusted. Tom DeConey comes out, says he's going to come. Liam Ryan now, who's going to obviously be a real hit in the forward line for them. Jack Silvani has said he wants to leave the Blues, even though Western Bulldogs and also Collingwood were saying that we want him, and we thought he might be heading in that direction. Stephen Silvani, who's the list manager or head of recruiting, he said, I've had nothing to do with Jack Silvani coming to the St Kilda Football Club. What a load of shit. But
And they got Alika Lear too.
Alika Lear, yes, from the Giants. So well done, St Kilda, a destination club.
Absolutely. It's pretty impressive, isn't it, to get, 4 or 5 players across. I think signing of Nas has helped for sure. I think, as I said before earlier in the year, like having a player like him makes that a destination club. They want to go play with him. So I think well done to the recruiting management of St Kilda to get all those players. Obviously, it's costing them a lot of money to get them, but well done. Money
talks today. That's one thing we've learnt over the last 5 or 6 weeks. Money talks. So well done. And St Kilda need to get better. They had during the year, they had a run where they'd had 2 wins and like 11 losses or something ridiculous. Might have been 14 losses, something that wasn't good enough. They need to be better. They've got some good young talent coming through, and now they've got some players coming in as well. So I think we all hope that St Kilda can actually get themselves going and possibly sneak into the finals, maybe win a flag. I think it's 150 years and they've won 1 flag, so it's a long time.
And get a fit king back would be nice.
Well, there you go, the forward line. So a lot of positives there. I want to apologise to the Geelong Football Club. I thought a soft lead-in, haven't played a lot of good teams heading into the finals. Probably haven't really analysed and watched them closely enough, but they're unbelievable. They're so even right across the board. I love the fact that Chris Scott does a double tagging team job in the middle. He's not afraid to do that. I just cannot see how anyone can beat Geelong from what I saw the other night.
Well, what they've done, like I think the last 15 years they've played in 10 prelims. That is extraordinary when you think about it. Like to even get into a finals campaign is hard to do, but to play in 10 prelims in the last 15 years is just incredible. But they're just so well drilled. They've got a great coach, great leaders. I think Dangerfield's he's such a great captain. He leads from the front and everyone follows. But yeah, what an impressive game that was to go out there against Brisbane, last year's premiers, and put them to the sword. Just the way they contested ball stuff, they bullied them inside on the weekend, and they got it done. And then they're into another prelim, which is awesome.
Well, they made Brisbane make mistakes, a lot of mistakes, which a lot of teams can't do. So, yes, look out. It might be Geelong Premiership coming up very, very soon. I'm going to help the coaches right now because that's what we do on this podcast, the Buddy and Shane Show. We help coaches because we love coaches.
Just not Vossi?
Well, no, we tried to help as much as we could, and now they're heading in a different direction. So anyway, at least we got them to pivot and change. But I'm here to help the coaches. So thank you for listening in, all those AFL coaches. When you play Collingwood, when you play the Collingwood Football Club, there's a player called Steele Sidebottom, and he is unbelievable. Absolutely love him as a player. when he has the ball in the forward half of the ground, kicking the ball inside 50, or more importantly, inside 50, you need to make sure someone is on him 100% of the time, not 90% of the time, 100% of the time. You cannot allow him any time or space. He will eat you alive. He kicked 3 goals. I just can't believe that there's some coaches that are prepared to roll the dice with certain players, and he is definitely one. So I'm helping all the coaches out there. When you do play Collingwood in the future, you cannot allow Steele Sidebottom to run around by himself in the forward half of the ground.
And
That's
I've got
my
one
message.
too, Croft.
You've got
I've
one.
got one too.
Okay.
We're
Is
going
this
off
to the
script.
coaches?
We're going off script.
We don't have
but
a script.
I've got one here. The Nick Dacos. You need to send someone with him. I've said it earlier in the year too. When you play Collingwood, you cannot let this guy off the chain. Earlier in the game, when the game was at its hottest, he was the guy that changed it. That goal on his first goal he kicked, that was just incredible. But it's just every touch he gets, he makes you pay. That's why you need to pay close attention to him. Be physical with him. I think, like, if Adelaide looked at that game again, they'll be that's the thing they should have done. Shut him down. You need to be right on him from the start of the game. Put pressure on him. If you don't do that, he'll make you pay. And every possession he got, it was either the score involvements with him were just incredible. He hits targets. So if you lay off him a little bit, he'll make you pay, and he did. He was just sensational, wasn't he? Really,
we love him as a player, and he works extremely hard, to get himself in amazing positions. So anyway, we've helped some of the coaches this week.
It's easy to say what we're saying, and
no, it's not, because I guarantee you, if Collingwood make the grand final and Geelong make the grand final,
someone will be on him. Yep.
100. There's nothing surer.
Yeah,
nothing surer than him getting a clamp, and it might be a double clamp. So, it just, anyway, we still scratch our heads at times. And it was Hardwick Weekend. So we had Damien Hardwick with the Gold Coast Suns. Congratulations, what an effort. My second team. I've been a believer. I'm with you.
Shane, you have.
We do this podcast from the beautiful Gold Coast. I was at the airport last night when the team come in just to clap them and show that I'm with them. And Blake Hardwick for the Hawks, he was unbelievable. He was like a rock down back. Always does not unrewarded, because he's very loved within the Hawthorn Football Club, but he had an enormous game against the Giants. So it was Hardwick Weekend, and wonder if it'll be Hardwick Weekend again next weekend. That would be greedy.
And how good is it to see? I didn't think I would see it, but around households around Gold Coast now, I'm seeing Gold Coast flags, jumpers. It's huge for the actual state, I think. There's no doubt about that, is it, Groff?
Well, they've broken a few hoodoos this year, winning in different states, not always winning on the road. That's obviously been a flaw for them. But to be able to do that, go to Perth, beat Freo, and Freo got their mojo. Jackson kicks a goal. They have to find a way to kick back. It's awesome. And it's got everyone up and about, even if they are your second or third team on the Gold Coast, which a lot of people up here, they are their second team. It's just got them starting to believe in AFL footy again. It's great that a Gold Coast side, no matter what sport, is having success. And they're a very good team when they want to be. They're tough. And we're going to talk about them very, very soon. So Thursday night, Collingwood, 24-point victory over the Crows. You were a believer. Pies are through to a prelim. They'll either take on Brisbane or Gold Coast at the MCG the following week. Jamie Elliott, he said to the All-Australian selectors, up yours. I'm going to show you that I should have been in there. He was awesome early. De Goey had real momentum as the game went on. And as you said, Nick Dacos was running around doing his own thing. But Collingwood came to play. We knew they were good enough if they wanted to be. And they were able to turn their form around. And also down back, they were very good, very solid, led by Darcy Moore.
What a game that was by Darcy. I think that was one of his better games of his career.
Like he had his own ball.
He was too good. And Adelaide forwards need to be better at that. Like either playing his back shoulder, you defend him, because he was just on. He was reading the ball quicker than the Adelaide Tools. And I've been in that position before. It's frustrating when the defender's picking the ball up quicker than what you are.
Yep.
You're on the back foot. But I think you just needed to play on him, defend him, and he'll take you to the ball. But I think, the Adelaide forwards would be disappointed with their performance. I think Tex was pretty good, like in his 300th. What do you have, 4 or 5 shots?
He looked very lively.
He looked lively. I thought Thilthorpe had a pretty disappointing game there. The running into the open goal, that's one he should just grab and kick straight away. I think either he heard the guy, who was it next to him? One of the young guys.
Not 100% sure. Wasn't Keys, was it?
It was Keys, it was Keys. So Keys was
just
either calling for
goal,
it, but he just needed to take that upon himself and go, you know what, I'm going to kick the goal in the big moment. I thought they were disappointing, Adelaide. I think they'll look at that game and go, I think
they got a few things wrong,
I think Collingwood's experience in the big games, they looked like they'd been there and that they had done that. I think with Sidebottom, Pendlebury, DeGoey, I thought DeGoey's game was incredible. Being pretty underdone this year. Looked like he got going, looked like he was a bit more lively, 26 touches. He looked really good inside and he's only going to improve on that. But, it was a terrific win, wasn't it, Crawl?
And bringing Mason Cox in, I like that. He's just he's so tall, but I thought he'd play a bit more in the forward line, but they obviously used him in the ruck. So I thought Craig McRae coached really, really well. Just with where he put his magnets and what he was able to do with the side. And obviously they learnt so much from a few weeks earlier when they played Adelaide and lost, but they had over 70 inside 50s. And we did say last week, Adelaide will not win unless they change lanes and direction and be really brave. And Collingwood just did not allow them to do their thing. And, their pressure was through the roof, especially at halftime. Adelaide were hanging about, but it was like it was a completely different Collingwood after halftime, especially with their pressure on the ball, their tackling, they went about it. And, it's a scary side when they're up and about. Luke Pedlar, I thought he was pretty good for the Crows. He's quite a nice kick for goal. Didn't realise he was so good at having a shot for goal. So if they can get the ball into his hand next time they play, I think it's going to be super important.
Crawford, I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see whether they change that winning team up, really, because I think they've obviously got Bobby playing reserves. So it'll be interesting, does he come back into the team? So there's going to be, with their selection next week or the week after, it's going to be very interesting to see what way they go. But, it's just going to be very interesting because he's such a great player. He's obviously one of Norm Smith. He's got that X factor on the big stage. I think for me, he'd nearly come back into that team straight away.
Yeah, and I think you just pick the best team for the opposition you're coming up against, and that's exactly what Craig McRae did. So awesome win by the Pies, and it was great that they bussed a lot of their supporters over. And I think they travelled straight back after the game back to Melbourne. So it would have been an enjoyable ride, even though it was an overnight ride. So well done to the Collingwood fans and to Adelaide. Do you know what? You weren't horrendous. You can definitely fix a few areas. And normally you see the sides that are in top four, they rebound the following week, but they've got a bit of work to do. And finals is a different ball game. In the midfield, it has always been a little concern. Do they have a midfield good enough, especially if you clamp down on Dawson and don't allow him to have the impact that he can have? So they've got a bit of work to do. Geelong, 38-point victory over Brisbane Lions. Cats are through to a home prelim. They're going to play either Adelaide or Hawthorn. Ollie Dempsey, I know you've got a lot of love for Ollie Dempsey on the way that he works. He had 25 touches. He kicked 3. But they're just so even right across the board, and that's one thing that really surprised me. They can really move the magnets. You got Holmes and Bailey Smith through the middle, but you bring in Atkins, who just goes to work and does all the tough things. Their forward line is very agile. Neil, they got running machines, and we're talking 400, 800-metre champions in their junior days, who are now obviously opening up on a big ground like the MCG and running teams off their feet.
You can see it on the television, especially with Dempsey. He kicks the 3 goals because it's purely on work rate. Yep. He pushes in deep into the forward line and gets easy goals, but that's purely through work rate. But as I said before, what a team they are, Geelong. They continually get it done. I think they had 12 or 13 individual goal kickers on the weekend, which is just shows you that they're not one-dimensional. And that had been a query on them. Do they go to Cameron too much? Well, no, they don't.
Well, he was on fire.
He was on fire. He should have kicked 4 or 5 in the first quarter, Jezza. But it does show you that they're not an individualised team. They've got all these different options, and it's great. If someone does get off the chain on that day, well done to them. But they're just a great team. They've got stars all over the field, but they're just a good team. And
we've seen with Neil, he's kicked a few of late, early in games, and then Jeremy Cameron works his way into the game, and then you got Dangerfield. You're not relying on them to dominate games. You're relying on everyone just to do their little bit, and that's why I think they, for me, are clearly the premiership favourite now, even though last week I'm thinking, I don't know how you beat Brisbane, but it was always a concern, especially in the back of your mind. You got to have a forward line. You got to have a tall forward line that can at least give you a contest, and that seems to be the missing ingredient with the Brisbane Lions at the moment.
It does. I think, as we've probably spoken about throughout the year, I think that was always a query and question mark on Brisbane this year. Obviously, Danaher not being there, Hipwood with his calf or hammy, whatever. Maybe it was a calf. Him being out, a lot rides on the young key forward Logan, which is a lot of pressure for a 19-year-old to be under. And I think Cameron has been way off this year. He has. He's been really down on his form throughout this year.
Danaher would have been handy, wouldn't he?
I think if they had Danaher, they'd be right up there again. I think the key forward has cost them, and that's what they need to get in. Obviously, the West Coast guy coming across from Perth this year will help him out next year. But the key forwards probably cost them a little bit.
The Lions, they got a bit of work to do. They just weren't able to get free. They weren't able to use the ball like they have. I haven't seen them fumble so much and make so many mistakes, and that's all to do with how awesome Geelong's pressure was.
And then Neil missing the season now with his calf. That's a big out. Obviously, they've been playing some pretty good football without him this year when he's been out.
Yep.
But it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting, this game against Gold Coast for Brisbane this week. It's huge.
And what did we think of Cam Rayner's 2 goals? Those umpiring decisions. Up the other end of the ground, he gets knocked over. They say, free kick. So they bring the ball down into the goal square from one end to the other. He obviously falls and he rolls with it and he plays it up a bit. But there's definitely force there, but he definitely milked that, which is fair enough. You milk it a bit. And then the follow-up from Guthrie coming in. The bumps are there. If you're going to reward the first one, the second one was definitely a free kick. However, these are finals. You're allowed to be physical. You're allowed to use your body, and surely some common sense from the umpires needs to come into play.
You'd like to see that let go, wouldn't you? Just play. Obviously, the free kick was there, but the other one he got after, probably just let it go. It's a big price to pay. Huge price. And imagine they lost by a goal. God, the Cats would be up and all. But I want to go back to Dangerfield. I think he looks explosive. Yeah, it wasn't his absolute great game, but
It doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to be, but he looks dangerous and looks prime for a big prelim final, maybe grand final. He looks explosive. He looks like he's on his toes and he looks like he's ready to go, which for me smells danger.
Yeah, and you can just pop him in the middle for a little hit. Forward line, he can just bash and crash. He loves smashing bodies, which is just outstanding because you're still allowed to, although the way the game's going, it's going to be turned into netball very, very soon in the next few years where you're not allowed to have any physical contact. So
it's pretty incredible, though, Croft, to be still doing what he's doing at 35, 36, looking that explosive, his second efforts when he's on the ground to get back onto it. Not many players can do that at that age, so good on him.
He's cat-like.
He is cat-like and in beast-like. So,
who wouldn't want to play, in that Geelong forward line the way they move the footy? Hawthorn, 19-point victory over the Giants in a classic. The Hawks, the Giants were good early. The Hawks found their way and found their mojo, but most importantly, they had scoreboard pressure. So every time the Hawks went forward, they were able to score. And I think for the game, the Giants had 72 inside 50, so they had their opportunities. But the great thing for the Hawks, even though they're up by 42 points, 10 minutes left in the third quarter, sometimes you can't stop momentum, especially the Giants have had a history of really having that orange tsunami charging, and it's like, how do you stop that? And even after the game, some of the Hawthorn players are like, we're trying to, we really needed the three-quarter siren to come, but we were trying to change things and trying to get our hands on the footy, but they just couldn't. So I think it's a good win that you're challenged, everything's against you, you can still find a way to change things a touch and get yourself back into winning in a stadium that they were zipping 8. So there was a lot of things against them, but it was a good win. It was a very good finals win.
Well, you think the start of the game, we speak about momentum, the start of the game, GWS had that, but they couldn't capitalise. And then Hawthorn went up the other way and went bang, bang, bang. Pretty incredible win, really. You think, and that arm wrestle was there, wasn't it, really? Like GWS had the momentum in that third. If that had been the last quarter, GWS probably would have won.
Yep.
Really. Lucky that three-quarters siren went, and then they were able to get back together, have a chat and go, well, what do we need to do to win this game? And well done to Hawthorn. It was a pretty incredible win, really, especially when they were challenged. And that's what happens in finals. It's not always going to go your way throughout the day. But, GWS, as I said, I thought they would win the premiership this year. So there's that one. But, yeah, Hawks.
Well, the very best of the Giants is probably better than the rest, but they just can't maintain that for 4 quarters, and they can't obviously put the pressure on the opposition that's required for 4 quarters. So
I think the underdone players did show. I think with Hogan there was a few fumbles, and I think that's just what happens when you miss 3 or 4 weeks out of the game. There's just a couple times where if he had been a little bit cleaner, they would have been out. I think Stringer a couple of occasions where he could have hit up a player, went for goal. Yeah, he did a couple of good things. That's the kind of player he is. But I think there's just little things, if they had been a little bit more team-orientated, especially early in the game when the pressure's on in a final, that's what you need to do. You need to bring your teammates into the game and just get easy goals instead of going for goals yourself. I think that's when the good teams, that's what they do.
The midfield, well, the running players for the Giants, Whitfield had 36, Callaghan had 34, and Green in and under had 34. So, they had plenty of football, and that was always going to be the case, but it's, were they using it in the right spots? Were they getting it in the right spots? Josh Weddle, there was a call on him. Should he come in? The whole plan, and even if, players are a bit fumbly and not at their very best, the plan with all of them coming in for the finals would have been a long-term plan. As soon as they know they have the injury, it's like, let's try and get them ready for round 1 of the finals. But he had a bit of an impact. He looked like he was feeling good about himself.
The number 23, that's why I called. But no, he looked good, didn't he?
Yes, Don Scott Burton. Pretty very good number at all.
Yeah, very good, very good. He's a great player, isn't he? Yep. He looked good as that forward, didn't he? So just marking the ball nice and clean, looked very explosive still, but they were good. I thought Jai Newcomb was incredible inside. Obviously, Day not being there, a lot of the midfield, it goes on him, doesn't it? Really, a lot of pressure goes on him to deliver week in, week out, and he did well. He just goes in and gets the ball, brings it out to his other midfielders. I thought he was really good.
Ginnivan, Gunston, and McDonald. We said last week Ginnivan and Gunston need to have good games, or very consistent games, but they all kick goals. So it was a very good performance. The defence of Hawthorn, the human brick wall. Yeah. They often say that defences win you flags, but in this case, it definitely helped Hawthorn to progress to the following week against Adelaide. So a very good win. Shout out to Darcy Jones, who looks to have done his ACL. We wish him all the very best. We like him. We love his run and his energy, so we wish him all the very best. And now for me, the Gold Coast Suns, a 1-point victory over Fremantle. Fairy tales do come true. David Swallow, who's been a loyal Sun, he's been there for 248 games. He kicks the winning point, which we all thought was the winning goal, but it's probably better to be that point because they had to kick in with only 10 seconds to go from down back Fremantle. You know, they've done a few things this year. They've ticked a few boxes, but this is their biggest win in the history of the Suns. You know, they knocked over Collingwood, which was a really good victory, and the Lions not too long ago. But this is huge because their first half was unbelievable. The run and gun, and all starting with Matty Rowell and Anderson, their leaders through there. But can we give a shout out to my man, Jared Witts? Most underrated player in the AFL by a mile. He is enormous. When he plays at the Gold Coast Suns are always competitive. When he doesn't play, it's a different situation. 44 hit-outs. He had 21 disposals, 8 clearances. But even more importantly, he's able to hit the ball down to Rowell and Anderson, and they had almost 70 touches between them. Jared Witts... he's unbelievable. And I know he's so valued by the Suns and by Damien Hardwick, but I think the football world need to understand how important he is to that football team.
Oh, he's massive, isn't he, really? He obviously gets
massive. He's almost 7 foot.
He gets it down. They've had tremendous years, Rowell and Anderson, like incredible years, both All-Australians this year. And then they only get that off the back of Witts hitting the ball to them. But those two midfielders are born for finals, aren't they, Croft? They go in and under, they get the ball, they run all day. And when the game was at their...
And they pressured too, you know, to their two-way players.
Yeah. And when they needed to step up, they did. They were there. They were in and under, getting the ball out, getting it forward when they needed to. But, like, I've had some question marks on Gold Coast this year.
You're not a true believer now, bud.
No, I wouldn't say true believer.
No,
but like
they've gained a lot of respect.
I've been pretty critical. They have. They've gained a lot of respect. I think what they did to go over there and win in Perth is absolutely huge for the footy club. To win their first final, like, well done. Well done. I think that's incredible. I don't know where else we go with it, but I think what an amazing win.
So from Fremantle's point of view, I love the energy of Patrick Voss. You know, he just looks like he's working his guts out, and he just wants to be out there, which I love that. Whereas, he might not be as good as some of the other forwards in his team, but I tell you what, love his energy. Alex Pearce was enormous down back. He was like the Darcy Moore for Collingwood on the weekend. And Murphy Reid, who you're saying is going to win the Rising Star, you've said he's a certainty. You've been saying it for a long, long time. His skills and his handballing was – I've never seen an AFL footballer get rid of the football so quick.
Ever. Wow.
Ever. You go back and have a look at some of his handballs on the weekend and his decision-making. It was almost impossible to handball the ball off in a few of those situations to where he did. He's a very special player, and he's definitely going to drift up to the midfield, and they've got an absolute beauty in him. But Humphrey too, he had a great toughness around the footy in the forward line for the Gold Coast Suns, especially early in the game. So this was a good win. And with a Damien Hardwick sign, he's obviously been there with Richmond for a long, long time. He knows how to win finals. He's prepared to roll the dice and really, be very, very attacking. And, and
good move, wasn't it, to put Mac Andrew forward too late in the game.
There you go.
That's a good coaching move, obviously.
Huge.
Took the mark.
Especially to come back when they hit the front and you think, oh, hang on, do they have something to kick back with?
Yeah.
And that was something similar that happened in the Collingwood game up here. Collingwood, I think, hit the front or levelled with them. They found a way to fight back, so they learnt obviously a bit from there. Fremantle's history in the second half of the year, been down at three-quarter time, been able to win games. So
I think with watching that vision, I don't know who it was, but when Mac took that mark, I thought whoever it was probably could have got there.
Josh Tracy.
Was it not? No, not Josh Tracy. Josh was on him, but there was a drop off.
Oh, there was someone else as well, was it?
I don't know. I can't remember who it was, but I thought if he had his time again, you've got to put your body in there and go, you know what, I'm going to impact here. Like a minute to go, he takes a mark. If you're genuinely serious, I reckon you could get your body there. Just put your body in front of the contest and take the hit.
You've got, and I think you've just got to charge. It's virtually...
If he's going to take a mark, take it on your head and go, well done to you. But I think you just got to put your body in that position, just go, I'm going to take a hit here, whatever, get on with it.
And you got to be prepared to take hits.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be prepared all year, but especially finals is like, do you know what? I've got to take one for the team. So I'm sure there's always those little moments when you look back and you're like, oh, I could have probably put my body on the line there, could have went harder here, could have done this, could have done that. So there'll be a lot of that happening, especially with the losers over the weekend. But hey, we love the first round of the finals. That was awesome. Everything that we wanted. We had some really close games, some wonderful players, some of the very best players being at their very best, and that's what finals is all about. And I don't think it's going to get any easier to predict over the next few weeks, although Collingwood and Geelong are definitely in the driver's seat. You're listening to the Buddy and Shane Show for AIA Australia, a life, health and wellbeing insurer with a commitment to helping Australians lead healthier, longer, better lives. It is now time for Buddy's Young Star of the Week.
Buddy's Young Star of the Week for the Kia Tasman. Here now.
My young star of the week is Ollie Dempsey. We spoke about him before, but
yes.
as I said, this young kid, 25 touches, 3 goals on the weekend in a final. He's kicked over 30 goals for the year again, Croft, this kid. He continually plays well. He's just a pleasure to watch, isn't he? He just gets it done.
Well, he was Rising Star of the Year last year, wasn't he? He was picked 15 in the 2021 rookie draft, which is an incredible selection.
Yep.
So they must have snuck him away, Geelong.
Yeah. They've got a way of doing that, don't they?
He's only 22, and I saw him interviewed after the game, and then I heard Paddy Dangerfield talk about him saying he's always got a smile on his face. He's one of those people that brings sunshine and life into your life, you know. So he's a great team player. So well done, Ollie Dempsey.
Pretty good, though. The 3 goals in a final, 25 touches. Not many players can do that, Croft, so... Really?
No. I thought you were referring to yourself there.
No, but not many players can. It's a big game. It's a big game in a final.
He'll kick goals in finals, and he's a chance to take Mark of the Year in finals too. So he's a very special player. But we love his work rate. We love him getting up and down the field. Buddy's Young Star of the Week, thanks to the Kia Tasman, the most Australian Kia ever developed. It's built tough. It's tested hard. They're on the road. They're out there.
They're on the road. I'm on the road with one.
So that's it. Whether you're hauling, towing, or taking your surfboard down to the beach, the Tasman is made for the job. The Kia Tasman, it's here now. That's it.
That's it.
Thanks for coming. Enjoy the second week of the finals and bring on the prelims.
Let's go Suns, Hawks.
Let's go. Go Suns.